The scene opens with a rush of tension as a fleet of alien warships enters Earth's orbit. These aliens are known across the galaxy for their overwhelming power. Their technology is far more advanced than anything humanity has ever seen, and their reputation for conquering entire planets without resistance is unmatched. As the ships approach, their sleek, dark shapes blot out the stars behind them, filling the sky with their looming presence. They have come for one reason: to destroy Earth. Their commanders are confident, even arrogant. They see humanity as nothing more than a speck, weak, unworthy of notice. Earth is an insignificant planet with no real defenses, and its inhabitants are seen as primitive beings, incapable of understanding the true power of the alien fleet. The alien leaders scoff at the idea of humans putting up any fight. They have wiped out countless civilizations before, and they have no reason to believe Earth will be any different. But just as the alien ships begin their descent toward the planet, the aliens notice something unusual. A small satellite, almost unnoticeable compared to the enormous ships in their fleet, is in Earth's orbit. It looks harmless, maybe even a little outdated, like something humanity would use for simple communications or scientific research. To the aliens, this satellite is nothing more than a curiosity, a speck in the vast expanse of space. They ignore it at first, thinking it poses no threat. It's just another human toy. One of the alien commanders laughs. But as the fleet moves closer, something strange happens. The satellite, which had been drifting peacefully in space, suddenly flickers to life. A low hum begins to vibrate through the airwaves. The alien ships, now within range of Earth's atmosphere, feel a sudden shift in the energy around them. The calm and control they have been expecting suddenly vanishes. The alien fleet's command systems begin to malfunction, one by one. At first, it's subtle, a slight flicker in their communication channels. Then, all at once, their ships start to experience strange glitches. Weapons systems that had been ready for battle go offline. Navigation systems scramble. The once perfectly coordinated fleet becomes a chaotic mess, with some ships veering off course, while others spiral out of control. The aliens struggle to understand what is happening, and panic begins to spread through their ranks. They attempt to reset their systems, but nothing works. The satellite is the only thing they can think of that might be causing the chaos. What is this? An alien officer shouts as his ship's control panel flashes warnings. This cannot be happening. The captain of the fleet, a tall, imposing alien with cold eyes, tries to maintain his composure. Focus. We will fix this. But even he can feel the growing fear. This isn't just a glitch. It feels like an attack. But from where? And how? In the midst of this confusion, the alien fleet receives a chilling transmission. A message in the language of humans, but distorted, like it's coming from another dimension. The voice is calm, almost eerie in its simplicity. You are not alone, alien invader. You have underestimated us. Welcome to your worst nightmare. The alien captain's eyes widen. This isn't just a random malfunction. The humans have done something. This was no accident. But how could they have known? How could they possibly have the technology to interfere with the alien fleet in such a powerful way? At that moment, the aliens realize that they may have made a grave mistake. The satellite that they had dismissed as harmless is not just a tool for communication or observation. It has been weaponized. The humans, despite their primitive reputation, have somehow turned their greatest weakness into a strength. The real surprise comes when the fleet tries to engage their weapon systems again, only to find that the satellite has scrambled their targeting systems as well. The alien weapons, some of the most advanced in the galaxy, can no longer lock onto their targets. Ships that were once poised to obliterate Earth now find themselves floating helplessly in space, unable to aim, let alone fire. The satellite is too powerful, too precise. In the midst of this chaos, Captain Laura Creed of Earth's Defense Forces watches with a quiet, confident smile on her face. She has been watching the alien fleet's every move from the ground. tracking their every decision. While the aliens had underestimated Earth's technology, Lara and her team had done the unthinkable. They had weaponized the satellite, not with traditional weapons or missiles, but with a weapon far more devastating: technology. Behind the scenes, Lara's team had spent years developing this secret project, known only to a few in the highest levels of the Earth military. The satellite was designed not for observation, but for control. With advanced AI and quantum computing, it could disrupt enemy systems, create confusion, and disarm even the most powerful fleets. Lara, herself a highly skilled commander, had known that the alien fleet would come one day. She had seen the patterns, the way they moved, the way they dominated weaker civilizations, and she knew that Earth's time would come soon. So she had prepared. She had secretly weaponized the satellite, transforming it into a tool that would allow humans to fight back against an overwhelming enemy. As the alien ships continue to malfunction, their commanders scramble for answers. But by now, it's too late. The damage has been done. The Earth's forces have gained the upper hand, and the aliens are at a loss. They had come here expecting an easy conquest, but instead they had stepped right into a trap. The small, unassuming satellite, something they had laughed at, has become their worst enemy. As the aliens try to regain control, they start to realize the magnitude of their mistake. They had thought that the humans were weak, that they were insignificant, but now they are discovering that humanity's strength lies not in their weapons or ships, but in their ingenuity and resourcefulness. The satellite isn't just a piece of technology. It's a symbol of humanity's resilience. It's a message to the alien invaders: Earth will not go down quietly. And Captain Lara Creed, standing in the command center, knows that this is just the beginning. The aliens, now realizing they've been outmatched by the most unexpected of forces, are filled with an unfamiliar feeling. Fear. Fear of a species they thought they could crush with a single strike. Fear of the humans who had turned their own technology against them. Fear of what's coming next. The first strike had been made, not by the aliens, but by the humans. And this time, it was the aliens who were on the defensive. As the alien fleet drifts in confusion, Lara prepares her next move. This fight is far from over. But for the first time, the aliens know that they are no longer in control. Earth has proven that, sometimes, the smallest force can turn the tide of battle. The humans may be outnumbered, but they are far from helpless. And as the alien fleet regains some semblance of order, the real battle is about to begin. The aliens' disbelief is palpable. After all, they had faced countless civilizations across the galaxy, each one crumbling at their feet without so much as a fight. But this was different. Earth wasn't supposed to have the capability to challenge their fleet. They had brushed off the satellite, convinced it was just a tiny piece of human technology, no more than a curiosity in the vastness of space. But now, everything was spiraling out of control. The alien general, a towering figure with shimmering silver skin and eyes that glowed like embers, stood in the command center of his flagship, his mind racing. He had expected the satellite to be a minor glitch, an anomaly in their path to Earth's destruction. But the more he observed, the more he realized something was horribly wrong. It wasn't a mistake. This was a deliberate attack. As the human spacecraft, seemingly insignificant compared to the massive alien fleet, powered up, the full extent of the surprise became clear. The satellite, now revealed to be a sophisticated piece of technology, flickered to life with a brilliance that dazzled even the aliens' advanced systems. The first sign of what was happening came when the fleet's control systems suddenly locked into a strange, unexplainable pattern. Their navigation and targeting systems, already disoriented by the previous interference, began to glitch again, only this time. In an instant, one of the smaller human ships appeared directly in front of the alien flagship. No warning, no time to react. The alien general's eyes widened in disbelief. How had it gotten so close? The ship had been invisible to their sensors just seconds ago. It had slipped through their defenses unnoticed, bypassing their highly advanced detection systems with ease. As the human ship's engines powered up, a brilliant pulse of energy shot out from its core, striking the alien flagship's shields with a force that sent shockwaves through the entire fleet. The blast was not only devastating in its intensity, but it was also unlike anything the aliens had seen before. The ship had somehow bypassed the energy shields, creating a direct hit to the hull itself. The alien general felt the deck of his command ship shudder beneath him, and for a moment, he thought the ship might break apart. This can't be real," the general muttered under his breath, his voice tinged with disbelief. His mind raced as he tried to process the situation. How had humans developed technology capable of bypassing even the most advanced defense systems in the galaxy? How had they managed to create a weapon that could not only damage his fleet, but also manipulate space itself? But the worst was yet to come. The alien ships, now completely disoriented and unable to defend themselves properly, began to experience another shift. This time, the battle for Earth was only just beginning, and the humans, against all odds, were now the ones in control. The situation was dire. The alien flagship, a massive warship capable of destroying entire planets with a single strike, moved steadily towards Earth. It was a symbol of the alien fleet's overwhelming power, and its mission was clear: to annihilate the human race. But what the aliens hadn't counted on was Captain Laura Creed and her crew's relentless determination to fight back with every ounce of their strength. Lara stood at the helm of her ship, eyes focused, heart pounding as she watched the alien flagship grow larger in the distance. Earth's defenses, which had once been thought to be laughable by the galactic invaders, were now the last line of defense between humanity and extinction. But even with all their advancements, the humans knew that this battle would be far from easy. The odds were stacked against them, but that had never stopped humanity before. Ready all systems. Lara's voice was steady, yet there was an edge to it, a fierce determination that could not be ignored. Activate the cloaking devices and prepare the plasma shields. We may not have the firepower, but we got the agility and the brains to win this. Her crew moved quickly, the hum of machinery and the beeping of the consoles filling the air. Their ship, which had once been nothing more than a humble vessel, had been upgraded with the most advanced technology humanity could muster. The cloaking devices, a gift from the very satellite that had first surprised the aliens, hummed to life. The ship vanished from the enemy sensors, becoming invisible to the alien fleet. But this time, the humans weren't just hiding. They were preparing for a fight. As the alien flagship continued its approach, the tension grew. The enemy ship unleashed a barrage of energy weapons, each blast capable of decimating entire cities. The alien generals and officers aboard the flagship were confident that their firepower would be more than enough to crush the humans beneath their heels. They had faced countless races, each one faltering in the face of their superior technology. Humanity would be no different. But they hadn't counted on the humans' ability to think outside the box. Lara's ship, though smaller and less equipped than the alien warship, was built for speed and agility. The humans had learned the hard way that they couldn't match the aliens in sheer firepower. Instead, they had relied on their intelligence, using every piece of technology and every strategy at their disposal. Initiate high-speed maneuvers, Lara commanded. Her ship, now cloaked and undetectable, moved quickly, weaving through the chaos of the battlefield. The alien weapons fired relentlessly, but they missed by mere inches as the human ship danced around them, its movements sharp and precise. The battle turned into a dizzying dance of speed and destruction. As the alien flagship fired again, the plasma shields on Lara's ship activated with a blinding flash. The plasma shields, another result of humanity's technological ingenuity, were designed to absorb and deflect energy blasts, turning them into harmless energy that dissipated into space. The first few shots glanced off the shields, but it wasn't enough to slow Lara down. The ship continued to twist and turn, avoiding direct hits while returning fire in bursts. In the background, the Earth's defenses began to show their true strength. The orbital defense platforms, once considered obsolete and underfunded, now stood as the planet's final defense. These platforms had been upgraded with high-tech weaponry, including railguns and energy cannons capable of targeting and piercing even the toughest alien armor. As Lara's ship danced around the alien flagship, the orbital cannons fired in synchronized strikes, their beams of energy cutting through the vacuum of space. The intensity of the battle was overwhelming. Bright flashes of light filled the dark expanse of space as the alien fleet unleashed their most powerful weapons. Yet the humans fought back with everything they had. The combination of cloaking technology, plasma shields, and the human crew's speed and precision made them a difficult target. The aliens, once so confident, now found themselves on the defensive. It was in the heat of this chaotic battle that the true emotional core of the story began to unfold. As the alien ships began to close in, it became clear that the humans could not afford to lose any more ground. The stakes were higher than ever, and each soldier on the ground knew that their lives might be the cost of humanity's survival. Bonner, a seasoned soldier and one of Lara's closest allies, stood ready at his post, eyes narrowed in focus. The hum of the plasma shields surrounding his section buzzed in the background. He had seen countless battles, but this one felt different. The weight of the situation pressed down on him, but he knew there was no turning back. His people were counting on him. The entire planet was counting on them. "Stay focused, Bonner." Lara's voice crackled over the comms. "We've got this. Keep pushing." But even as she spoke, Bonner knew the truth. They were running out of time. The alien flagship's weapons were growing more accurate. The enemy had adapted, and it was only a matter of time before they breached their defenses. Bonner took a deep breath, preparing himself for whatever was to come. He looked around at the soldiers, all of them standing tall despite the odds, all of them willing to sacrifice everything for their home. The battle reached its climax when Bonner and his team made their way to the surface of a critical orbital defense station. The alien forces had managed to break through the outer defenses, and now it was up to the soldiers on the ground to hold them off. They knew that if they failed, the Earth would fall, and all their efforts would be in vain. The sound of blaster fire filled the air as Bonner and his team fought to hold the station. Each shot was a reminder of the stakes, of the lives they were willing to give up to ensure humanity's survival. But in the midst of the chaos, a moment of quiet determination overtook Bonner. He could hear the cries of his fallen comrades, but he refused to let fear take over. With a fierce yell, he charged toward the enemy, pushing forward despite the overwhelming odds. His sacrifice would not be in vain. The humans were proving that they were more than just survivors. They were warriors, and they would fight until the very end. Back in space, Lara's ship continued its relentless assault on the alien flagship. The battle was now a blur of action, each moment more intense than the last. The cloaking devices and plasma shields worked in tandem, allowing the humans to strike where the aliens least expected. With each maneuver, they closed in on the alien flagship, their goal now in sight, to destroy the ship that threatened their home. But even as the battle raged on, the emotional weight of the conflict hung heavy. Every soldier, every crew member, knew what was at stake. It was a fight not just for survival, but for their future. And with every passing moment, they were proving that humanity was capable of more than anyone had ever imagined. The counterattack was just the beginning. The humans were no longer the underdogs. They were fighters, and they were ready to take back their world. The battle had reached its peak. The skies above Earth were filled with the blinding lights of lasers and energy blasts, a chaotic spectacle of war. Alien warships moved through space like dark shadows, their massive frames bristling with deadly weapons. The Earth's defenders, led by Captain Lara Creed, fought with everything they had, knowing this would be their final chance to stop the alien invasion. Captain Creed's eyes narrowed as she looked at the alien flagship in the distance. This was it, the final mission. If they failed now, there would be no Earth left to fight for. The aliens had thrown everything they had at humanity, and yet, here they were, still standing, still fighting back with all their might. But they couldn't afford any more mistakes. The stakes were higher than ever before. "Target the alien flagship," Lara ordered, her voice steady but filled with a sense of urgency. "We've come this far. We can't turn back now. This is the moment that will decide everything." Her crew moved swiftly, preparing for the final assault. The plan was simple but dangerous. They would use their advanced cloaking devices and speed to get close to the flagship, avoiding the alien defenses and landing a direct hit. It was risky, too risky for most, but the humans had no choice. If they didn't take down the flagship, the aliens would destroy everything. Meanwhile, down on the ground, the soldiers who had fought tirelessly to defend the planet were gearing up for the final battle. Bonner, the seasoned soldier who had been with Captain Creed from the beginning, stood in the shadows, his heart pounding in his chest. The battle had taken its toll on him, but he wasn't afraid. He knew that this was their last chance. The alien forces had already wiped out so much, and now it was up to him and his comrades to deliver the final blow. Bonner's team was preparing for their most dangerous mission yet. They had to infiltrate the alien base on the planet's surface and disable the enemy's power grid. Without it, the alien flagship would be vulnerable. But getting to the power grid wouldn't be easy. The alien forces were everywhere, and their weapons were far superior to anything the humans had. Bonner knew that the odds were against them, but that didn't matter. His thoughts were only on one thing: protecting Earth, protecting his comrades, and ensuring that humanity had a future. He turned to his team, each of them wearing the same determined expression, and gave a silent nod. It was time to move. The soldiers moved quickly, darting between cover and avoiding the deadly fire of the alien soldiers. The sound of blasters filled the air as they pushed forward, inch by inch. Bonner was in the lead, guiding his team through the battlefield with precision. His training had prepared him for this moment, but there was no way to prepare for the sheer chaos of war. The alien soldiers were unlike anything Bonner had ever faced. They were fast, skilled, and ruthless, but the humans had something the aliens didn't: determination. Every step they took was a step closer to victory, and they knew it. But even as they advanced, Bonner couldn't shake the feeling that they were running out of time. As they neared the power grid, Bonner could see the enemy defenses closing in. Alien war machines patrolled the area, and their weapons were locked on the human soldiers. Bonner turned to his team, his voice low but firm. "You know what we have to do," he said. "We take out their power, and we do it fast." The team nodded, each of them understanding the gravity of the situation. Bonner led the charge, rushing toward the enemy's defenses with his team following closely behind. They were met with a hail of gunfire, but the soldiers didn't hesitate. They pushed forward, using their speed and agility to outmaneuver the alien soldiers. Bonner's heart raced as they reached the power grid. He could see the control panel in the distance, but it was surrounded by alien forces. It seemed impossible, but Bonner refused to give up. He knew that if they didn't destroy the power, they would all be dead in a matter of hours. With a quick signal, Bonner and his team launched a series of explosive charges, taking out the enemy soldiers one by one. The explosions shook the ground beneath them, and the sound of the alien forces retreating echoed through the battlefield. Bonner and his team moved in, planting charges on the power grid. "On my mark," Bonner said, holding his breath. 3, 2, 1, detonate. The explosion rocked the ground, sending a shockwave through the area. The power grid was destroyed, and the alien flagship's shields flickered for a moment. It was just enough. The alien fleet would now be vulnerable to the humans' final strike. Back in space, Captain Lara Creed and her crew watched as the power grid was taken out. They had seen the explosion from a distance, and they knew that the time had come. The alien flagship's shields were down, and it was now or never. "Prepare for final attack," Lara commanded. The tension in the cockpit was palpable as her crew worked quickly, calculating their trajectory toward the flagship. They were going to make their move, and it was going to be decisive. The cloaking devices flickered on, and the human ship moved swiftly through the debris of the battlefield. Alien warships fired blindly in all directions, trying to hit the invisible enemy. But the humans were already closing in on their target, their precision unmatched. As they neared the flagship, Captain Laura Creed and her crew unleashed everything they had. The ship fired its weapons with deadly accuracy, targeting the flagship's weak points. The explosion from Bonner's team had left the alien ship vulnerable, and now the humans were making their final strike. The alien flagship groaned as it took hit after hit, its massive frame shuddering from the impact. But just as victory seemed within reach, a blast of energy shot from the flagship, striking the human ship and causing a massive explosion. The force of the blast knocked Captain Laura Creed's ship off course, sending it spinning through space. Inside the ship, alarms blared as crew members scrambled to regain control. Lara clenched the controls, trying to stabilize the ship as the chaos unfolded around her. "We can't give up now," she muttered to herself. "We're so close." Despite the damage, the crew was determined to finish what they had started. They had come too far to let the aliens win. The battle for Earth was far from over, but in that moment, they knew that they had given everything they had. And they would keep fighting, no matter the cost. The battle had raged on for hours, the entire battlefield a blur of flashing lights, explosions, and chaos. But amidst the destruction, a single moment stood out, the moment when humanity's final move struck with devastating power. Captain Laura Creed, with a look of intense determination, watched as her ship unleashed its final blow on the alien flagship. The massive warship, the symbol of alien superiority, exploded in a brilliant flash, its immense structure crumbling into fragments that scattered in all directions. For a brief moment, the Earth's defenders held their breath. The alien flagship, the heart of their fleet, was no more. But the victory wasn't just about destroying the ship. It was about destroying the very foundation of the aliens' invincibility. The entire fleet was thrown into disarray. Their coordinated attacks faltered, their once impressive formation crumbled, and for the first time, the aliens seemed to be panicking. Alien ships that were once so confident in their power now drifted aimlessly, disoriented, as if their very existence had been shattered. The mighty forces that had crushed entire civilizations now found themselves on the edge of defeat. The alien general, a tall and imposing figure in his command center, watched in stunned disbelief as his fleet descended into chaos. He had underestimated the humans. He had assumed they were just another primitive species, incapable of putting up a real fight. But now, as the alien fleet crumbled before him, he realized how wrong he had been. The humans had evolved, not just in their technology, but in their very spirit. They were no longer the weak species the aliens had once dismissed. They were a force to be reckoned with. And worse yet, they had beaten the aliens at their own game. The general's eyes widened as the full scope of their defeat became clear. The humans had not only used their own weapons and technology to turn the tide of the battle, but they had also used the aliens' own methods against them. The humans had outthought, out-innovated, and outfought their enemies. His mind raced back to the battle's beginning, how they had used AI-driven cloaking devices to slip past the alien defenses, how they had taken down the power grid, and how the final assault had been launched with precision and speed. He had never expected such a small species to be capable of such complex and deadly tactics. But now, as the alien flagship burned in the distance, the general's thoughts turned inward. His once proud AI supremacy, the artificial intelligence that had been the cornerstone of the alien empire, was now working against him. It had been the AI that had first identified Earth as a target, that had formulated the plan for the invasion, and that had led the aliens to believe their victory was inevitable. Yet now, that same AI was now turning on its creators, unable to cope with the humans' rapid technological evolution. As the general watched in horror, The once mighty AI, which had deemed itself invincible, began to fail. The systems that had once given the aliens an overwhelming advantage were now turning against them. The AI was no longer just a tool. It had become a liability. The alien general clenched his fists in frustration. He had trusted the AI to lead them to victory, but now it was the very thing that had led them to their downfall. Meanwhile, Captain Lyra Creed's voice came through the comms, calm but resolute. "This is it. We've won. The alien fleet is in disarray, and their flagship is destroyed. We need to push forward and finish this." The words were a rallying cry for every soldier, every human who had fought and sacrificed everything to defend their planet. Bonner, the seasoned soldier who had led his team to destroy the alien power grid, knew that this final push was the moment they had all been waiting for. It wasn't just about taking down the alien overlords. It was about securing humanity's future. Bonner's team had suffered losses. Some soldiers had already given their lives in the fight, but their sacrifice had not been in vain. They had paved the way for the final victory. Bonner's resolve hardened as he looked at his team, his comrades in arms. "We fight for the future," he said, his voice steady. "For everyone who couldn't be here to see this." The human soldiers, though battered and weary, stood tall. They knew what was at stake. They weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for something more. They were fighting for the right to exist, for the future of their families, and for the generations that would come after them. As the alien fleet faltered, the humans pressed forward with everything they had. The battle wasn't over, but with the alien flagship destroyed and the AI turning on its creators, victory was within reach. The human ships moved with precision, using their advanced cloaking devices to strike at the remaining alien forces. The remaining alien ships tried to fight back, but their coordinated efforts were no match for the human speed and ingenuity. The alien general could only watch as his forces were slowly picked off, one by one. The AI, once the backbone of the alien empire, was now a weak and flawed system, incapable of adapting to the humans' relentless assault. In the final moments of the battle, the alien general was faced with a terrifying realization. He had thought the humans would fall quickly under the weight of his empire's might. But they had fought back, using their intelligence, bravery, and determination to push the aliens to the brink of extinction. The aliens had underestimated the humans' capacity for innovation and resilience. And now, as the last of the alien warships fell to Earth's defenders, the general understood that he had been wrong all along. The humans had proven that even the most advanced technology could be defeated by the power of will, emotion, and the unyielding desire to protect their home. The alien empire, with all its power and technological superiority, had been brought to its knees by a small, determined species that had refused to give up. The final blow came swiftly. As the last alien warship was destroyed, the general knew that the invasion was over. The humans had won. Their victory was complete. The alien empire, once so sure of its supremacy, was now a shadow of its former self, its fleets destroyed, its AI turned against it, and its dreams of conquest shattered. For Captain Lyra Creed and her crew, for Bonner and his team, and for every soldier who had given their life for Earth's survival, the victory was more than just a military achievement. It was a triumph of humanity's spirit. The aliens had come to conquer, but in the end, it was the humans who had emerged victorious, proving that even the most powerful forces in the universe could not stand against the indomitable will of a people fighting for their future. And so, as the dust settled, and the stars above Earth twinkled with the promise of a new beginning, humanity stood tall, knowing that they had won. The alien overlords had been defeated, and Earth had been saved. This was the moment of their greatest triumph, a victory that would echo through the cosmos for generations to come. The age of the alien invaders had ended, and the age of humanity had just begun. The battle had been long and brutal, but in the end, humanity had emerged victorious. The alien overlords were no more, their once mighty fleets reduced to nothing but debris drifting in the void. Earth, the planet that had once been considered insignificant in the vastness of the galaxy, had defied the odds and secured its place in the universe. The humans had won the fight not only for survival but for the future of their species. The victory was celebrated across the planet as cities erupted with joy, and people from every corner of the Earth raised their voices in unison. For Captain Lyra Creed, standing on the command deck of the flagship ship, the feeling of triumph was bittersweet. She looked out at the stars, knowing that while this battle had been won, the war for humanity's future was just beginning. The victory celebrations were loud and filled with pride, but there was a heavy weight on her shoulders. The defeat of the aliens was a monumental achievement, but it had opened the door to an entirely new set of challenges. "Captain, we've done it," her second-in-command, Lieutenant Alina Bowers, said, her voice full of pride. "We've defeated them. Earth is safe." Lyra nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Yes, we've won. But the real challenge begins now. We have to ensure that no other species makes the same mistake the aliens did. We have to show the galaxy that we're not just a species to be feared. We're a species that can be trusted, as long as our power isn't abused." The crew around her was celebrating, but Lyra's mind was already focused on what came next. She knew that this victory was just the beginning of a much larger journey. The defeat of the aliens had opened a new chapter for humanity, one where their technological advances would be their greatest strength, but also their biggest responsibility. Meanwhile, Bonner, who had been at the front lines throughout the battle, looked out at the endless expanse of stars with a deep sense of pride and relief. He had lost many friends during the war, soldiers who had given their lives so that humanity could stand victorious. Their sacrifices had not been in vain. They had secured a future for Earth, and for Bonner, that was everything. But even as he felt the weight of the victory, he couldn't ignore the nagging thought that had been growing in his mind. The aliens were defeated, but their technology, their AI systems, had been far more advanced than anything humanity had ever seen. What if there were other species out there, other empires that possessed similar powers? What if Earth was just the first planet to fall under the eyes of the galaxy's predators? Captain Lyra Creed was right. The victory celebrations could only last so long. There was much work to be done. Humanity had now been given the opportunity to evolve, to continue building on the technological advancements that had helped them win the war. The AI that had once controlled the alien empire was now in the hands of Earth's best scientists. They knew that with this technology, they could propel humanity forward at a pace that no one had ever imagined. The possibilities were endless. Artificial intelligence, faster than light travel, advanced weaponry, and new ways to manipulate energy. Everything that had been learned from the aliens could now be used to propel humanity into a new age of exploration and power. But with this newfound power came a responsibility. Humanity's victory over the aliens had been a victory of survival, of proving that the human spirit could never be broken. But Lyra knew all too well that with power came the temptation to misuse it. The same technology that had defeated the aliens could easily be turned into a weapon of destruction if left unchecked. Humanity's leaders gathered in the aftermath of the battle to discuss the future. There was no more time for celebration. The fate of the galaxy rested on the choices they made next. In the grand halls of the new Galactic Council, representatives from Earth's governments met with scientists, military leaders, and engineers. Their mission was clear. Humanity had to form a new alliance, a new galactic space empire that would stand as a beacon of hope for the future. But this new empire would not be built on conquest. It would not follow the path of the aliens who had sought to control and dominate the galaxy. Instead, it would be built on unity, on peace, and on the understanding that power should never be used recklessly. The lessons of the alien invasion were not forgotten. Humanity's leaders vowed that they would use their technology for the benefit of all species, but only as long as it was used responsibly. The creation of this new empire was not easy. There were many who wanted to take advantage of their newfound power. Some factions within Earth's government saw the victory as an opportunity to dominate weaker species, to expand humanity's influence across the galaxy. But Lara Creed and her team stood firm, reminding everyone that they had defeated the aliens because they had fought for the survival of their planet, not for conquest. "We have to be better than them," Captain Creed said in a speech to the Council. "We cannot allow ourselves to become what we fought against. We have the power now, but it's not the power to destroy. It's the power to protect, to build, to unite." The Council nodded in agreement. They knew that the galaxy would be watching them closely. This was not just about Earth. It was about setting an example for the entire galaxy. The universe had seen what humanity was capable of, and now it was time to show them that they could be trusted. Humanity's leaders made a pact, an oath to protect the galaxy from any future threats. They would use their technology to create a peaceful empire, a federation of planets that would work together for the greater good. And to ensure that no species would ever misuse AI supremacy again, the Council agreed to monitor and regulate all advanced technologies, ensuring they were used for the benefit of all. But even as the new dawn of humanity's space empire began to rise, there were still threats lurking in the shadows. Lara knew that the victory over the aliens was just the beginning. There would always be new challenges, new dangers that would rise to test them. But humanity had proven something fundamental, that no matter how powerful the enemy, no matter how impossible the odds, the human spirit would never surrender. As the first human ships set out to explore the vast reaches of space, they carried with them a message of peace and unity. The galaxy had been shaken by the events that had unfolded, but it had also been inspired. Humanity's victory had proven that even the smallest species, the one that had once been seen as weak, could rise to become a force to be reckoned with. And so, as Captain Lara Creed stood on the deck of the new flagship, gazing out at the stars, she knew that Earth's future was bright. The galaxy was theirs to explore, to protect, and to shape. But the lessons they had learned from their war with the aliens would guide them every step of the way. They had won the battle, but now they had to prove that they were worthy of the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. The sun set over Earth, casting a warm glow across the horizon. The planet that had once been on the brink of destruction now stood at the forefront of a new age. The era of the alien invaders was over. The era of humanity had just begun.